Well, joining me today is Tyler McMurtry, the Manager of Media Relations for SGI. Tyler, first off, thanks a lot for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, of course, it is harvest season. Farmers are out on the highways transporting all those goods and equipment across the highway in Saskatchewan. So what are some tips for drivers to make sure that they keep themselves and the farmers safe?
Well, really what we want to do is make sure that people share the roads with farmers and understand that farmers are going to be just moving their equipment very briefly from field to field. And we want other drivers to exercise patience, understanding that farm equipment is slow moving. It might not have the ability to signal intentions, that sort of thing. So we want people to exercise that patience and understanding for the farmers who are just trying to move their vehicles from point A to point B.
How important is it to create awareness for drivers on this particular subject matter?
Very important, especially when you're dealing with an agricultural province like the one we live in. We are going to see farm equipment on the road from time to time here in Saskatchewan and in Alberta and Manitoba. Across the prairies. It's just really important for us to understand that those are the people that help keep our agricultural economy moving. And we want to do what we can to make sure that they get where they're going safely. And of course, we don't want to cause any collisions as well as drivers, because when you're dealing with very large pieces of farm equipment, it's not something that drivers want to be involved in. Fortunately, the number of collisions that we see on a yearly basis is not huge. But it does happen, and it happens throughout the year, interestingly enough, although this is the time of year where we do see those collision numbers bump up a bit.
What are some of the stats that you could share with us, Tyler, about those farm vehicle and then driver vehicle collisions?
In 2019, we saw 23 collisions involving farm equipment on our public highways. And we also saw from those collisions, 8 people injured, and unfortunately 2 people lost their lives. Over the past 3 years, we have seen 2 to 3 people unfortunately killed in collisions with farm equipment each year. So it is something that we want drivers to be aware of, especially during this time of year when it's harvest for many agriculture producers, or it will be soon, and they will be moving their equipment from field to field and using our public highways to do so. So for the drivers who encounter farm equipment, we want them to just understand that they just need to exercise a bit of caution, a bit of patience, stay back, give them plenty of room, understand that they might not be able to signal their intentions, and they're going to be slow moving, but they're not going to be on the highway for long. So exercising that patience, giving them room is a really great place to start.
Has there been many complaints from farmers about drivers kind of speeding past them or not following those tips that you gave earlier, as well as should drivers treat this like it's a first responder or a tow truck out on the highway?
I mean, it might be a little bit different with, first responders and tow truck operators who are actually working at roadside, whereas farmers are only on the roadside generally for a brief period of time. So drivers are able to go around them. But we do want drivers to be cautious when they do go around, because again, farmers might not be able to signal their intentions. So if they're about to turn left into an upcoming field, just as you're pulling around to pass them, that can be a situation where a collision can occur. So it's just one of those things you need to look at the road ahead. Where is the farmer likely going to be going? And if they're going to be turning left into that field coming up, maybe just hold off on passing them for a bit. And that's why being patient is so important.
And lastly, Tyler, if anyone wants more information, where can they go and find it?
I mean, we really encourage them to check out the SGI website at any time, of course. Lots of tips on sharing the road with farm equipment and anything else you might encounter on the road. So if you go to sgi.sk.ca or follow us on any of our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, we'll be sharing tips about taking care out there.
Tyler, I really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot for joining us again.